Hey there, good morning. I'm John. Today is Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. Welcome to another edition of my daily vlog. If you've been here more than once, you know the drill. Content creation, blah blah, laid off. That is what we're doing here once more. Let's talk about yesterday. And if I feel I'm a little goofy, it's because I'm in a pretty good mood. We've talked before about how stats have they have an impact on my mood. And if they're going down, I feel down. If they're coming up, I feel up. So spoiler alert, they feel like they're coming up. Let's start by talking about yesterday. So I started yesterday a little bit slowly after the vlog. I jumped in Monday morning usually and started dealing with social media posting and replying to comments and stuff like that. I intended to do a short video yesterday, and I started several of them, started doing some research, and none of them were really popping for me. So after lunch, I'm like, you know, and stats were kind of flatlining. They were going okay, and I'm like, I just want to produce a piece of content today, a piece of long form. It doesn't have to be complex. So I have a little stack of videos I could do if something falls through or we need to ride a wave or whatever. And so I did. I have a fairly rare Atari cartridge, a boxed cartridge, which I picked up with some store credit a couple weeks ago. So I'm like, you know what, let's just talk about this game, look at the box, show what it looks like, show what it plays like, just knock out a quick video. It took me about 4 hours in the afternoon after lunch to get done, shoot and edit, uploaded it, and out of the gate it was a winner. It was the #1 performer out of the last 10 right away. And I haven't looked this morning, which is weird. I usually, first thing I do is dive in every single stat, but I think overnight it's already garnered, I don't remember, look, I'm going to show you, you're going to see on the screen, but was it 1,200, 2,000, something? It did really well overnight, and it's still going. So, whew, I just every time I post a new video, I'm always worried, like, is this going to be the one that's going to totally flop? And things are on the uptick. I shouldn't think that. I shouldn't feel that way. But hey, 5 years of publishing, 100-view flops have made me gun shy, I'm sure. But this one is doing really, really well. I'm very happy about that. Once I got that done in the afternoon, I started to prep for the podcast editing today, which we'll talk about in a second. And it's just things went well yesterday. And the oddity is, around the time I published it, I think I published it around 5 o'clock or so, about 3:30 or so, views just started spiking, like double. All of a sudden. We have several things that are happening right now. Not only do we have that two-parter Activision that's still doing well, not only do we have the new video I published yesterday, which is doing over 100 an hour right now, but also there's, you never know, there's a short video from weeks ago that all of a sudden said, oh, don't forget about me, I want to do a couple hundred an hour, and it's up there in the stats. So you'll remember, I think just yesterday I had said, hey, we're now up to around 1,200 or 12,000 a day, up from the 8,000 a day we were kind of last week average. Over the last few days, it's been like 18,000 an hour instead of 12,000 an hour. So it's a huge, now the average still is around 12, 13,000 an hour, a day, 12, 13,000 per day. But the last few days have been a real spike. And so, and it's not quite a spike, we'll talk about that in a second. It's more, feels plateauy or hill, I don't know, it's hard to tell. But doing well. So let's talk stats, as we are kind of already are. It's silly, but we have the stats going. It seems to be improving, as well as we had another 100 subscribers yesterday, so that puts us at 28.8 and some, 28.83 or something, I think, when I looked last time. Look, 29 is, we might hit 30,000 before SFGE, which is late July. I don't think that's irrational. And wouldn't that be a great way to start kind of the celebratory week of the year, is the convention. So yeah, really happy about that and everything that's going on. Talk about today. Today is full, a little short, and productive, I know. First of all, it's podcast editing day. That means over on Twitch, we'll be getting together at 10 a.m. Eastern, where I will edit in real time the audio podcast that we recorded Friday that we'll publish Thursday. All you have to do is to go to twitch.tv/GenXGrownUp, and there you are. You're watching. You're hanging out with us. Why would you want to do that? It's like watching paint dry. It's because of the camaraderie. We hang out and we shoot the crap and we make fun of the recording, we make fun of myself and Mo and George and each other, and we just have a good time, and it's productive. When I get that done, we have a brief call with one of our representatives from Evergreen Podcast. That's going to be early in the afternoon. And then, whatever I can get done between then and, I'm knocking off a little early today because I'm going to go see the Spider-Man movie with my daughter. We're going to go check that out. So she and I usually only go see horror movies together because she doesn't like superhero movies, but she has a soft spot, I think, for the Spideyverse film that came out a few years ago, and so she wants to see this one. It's like a 2.5-hour movie, but that's going to be, I'm going to like leave, knock off about 4 or so. And go check that out. But that'll be the day. The one thing I will say as a reminder is, because it's podcast editing day, remember, if you have Amazon Prime and you have not used it yet, you have a monthly free $5 subscription token. That's effectively a donation to any content creator you like. And if you aren't using it, please consider using it for GenXGrownUp, for us. All you have to do is go over to our channel, as I said, at genxgrownup.com/Twitch. Click on the little subscribe button, but rather than saying any money or anything, you just say use my Amazon Prime sub. You might have to connect it to your Amazon account for the first time. But otherwise, it's money that Amazon's keeping. You know, do you want to give it to Elon Musk? You want to give it to John? Those are your choices. You have to do it each month, though. So if you've already done it, if it's maybe time to renew, pop in today maybe and click resubscribe once more. It makes a big difference. Those add up quickly. Right now, we're getting about, I think we're netting about $80 or so a month out of just people popping in and clicking that little Amazon Prime sub. So please consider doing that as well. Before I leave you, and I do need to get ready because it's live stream time in a little under an hour, but I want to say that I mentioned it's hard to tell, is this a spike, is it an anomaly, is it a hill that we're coming up on? And it occurred to me this morning, and I was thinking about it, is you can always tell when you're on the downside of a hill, but it's hard to tell when you're on the upside. Like, you know, it's so easy to look back at the stats and go, oh, there was the high point, and here we are on the downside of it. But right now, I feel like we could be on the upside of a hill, but you can't tell. It's impossible to know. Am I sitting on the leading edge of what's going to be a mountain of the stats, or am I actually just sitting at the top of some little anomalous spike and we're going to drop again? It's something that I obsess over when I look at the stats, and the problem with the universe is you can clearly see the past, but you can't predict the future. And so you try to map the past onto the future, and what happens is, more often than not, I live through spikes than I live through giant hills of productivity. So I'm sure that's why. That's why I'm pessimistic about it when I look at it. But today, as it stands right now, the way things are kind of cooking, I'm going to choose to believe that this hill, look at these stats. See how it's on its way up? It's been over the last few days. It's not just a one-day thing. I'm going to choose to believe this is an uphill climb, that it's going to last for at least another couple of weeks. That's my thinking. That's what I believe. That's what I hope. I'm going to see if the power of positive belief and energy has any impact on YouTube's stupid algorithm or not. It won't, but I'm hoping if I believe it, it'll actually help my own mood and my own attitude and my productivity and my morale, so that I will actually will it into being, because I'll be more productive and put out more great content, and it'll actually, I want to self-fulfill my own prophecy. That's the idea. Hey, it's time for podcast editing in just a little bit, so I've got to get going. I want to thank you, though, for popping in for today's vlog. If you did, if you're here every day, I love you for that. Thank you so much for being part of this support system. Help keep me going every day. Have a great Tuesday. Do something good for yourself if you can, and I'll talk to you again next day. Bye-bye.